This is Laura DeFranco, holistic physical therapist and owner of Brave Healer Productions. I'm excited to bring you my new holistic healing series where you're going to learn from the experts what it means to live fiercely alive, mind, body, and soul. I invite you now to take a breath, relax, and feel the vibe of the words my guest has to share with you today. Hey everybody, welcome to the Brave Healing Podcast. I'm Laura DeFranco, and the mission is to change the world one brave word at a time. You are watching one of the episodes in our Holistic Healthcare Secrets series, and I am super excited to be having a conversation with Stacy Herrera. Stacy, oh my goodness, it's been a long time since I talked to Stacy. Just you guys wait for this conversation. She is an intimacy and relationship coach, writer, and creator of the Sensuality Project. Through her sensuality-focused work, she helps humans to explore their sexuality, enhance intimacy, and create deliciously fulfilling relationships. You guys ready for this? Welcome, Stacy.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you. I missed you.
I know. I missed you too. I feel the same way. You come up in my mind a lot as I'm thinking about transitions I made in my own relationships, some of the things you helped me with when I coached with you in terms of thinking about the connection between sensuality, sexuality, and creativity. Pretty sure I wrote a whole piece in one of my stories about that, thanks to you. So thank you for all of that.
Oh, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Well, you're doing an amazing job embodying all the things.
Well, thank you.
Been on fire.
Embodying all the things. I think that's
all the things. Yes.
Well, listen, relationships are kind of an interesting topic right now, right? We're challenged right now, middle of the pandemic, for so many interesting reasons. Why is this important? Why is this extra important right now?
You know, I think with everything that's going on, this is the first time that we've actually had to pay real attention to how interconnectedness and how important it is for our lives. You know, when things are not in disarray, it's easy for us to move through like we are just doing this solo thing and we happen to bump into a couple of humans that we enjoy. But in this instance, like, we are really having to rely on one another in ways that we hadn't had to pay attention to. We were already doing it, but we were doing it unconsciously. And so now that we are in this space where sometimes we're like in close proximity with people that we love, and then it's like, but I don't know if I like you that much. Or in proximity with people that you're like, wow, I really like you way more than I thought. Because we haven't really been consciously moving. And this, when you're faced with the potential of death, because that's what the pandemic is, right? When you're faced with not just getting sick, but the potential of dying, and not that that's not true anyway, but when your mortality is like in your face, it really does help you to reorganize and think about what's really important. And all the frivolous things that we spend so much time thinking about, you know, even bill paying, as important as that is, at the end of the day, no one's thinking on their deathbed, you know what, I forgot, I think I underpaid so-and-so $5. Like, you know, it's like, oh, I wish I would have had more time. I wish I would have said, I wish we would have created these memories, or I wish I would have done that thing. And so that's the reason that relationships are such a hot button right now. They've always been, but we have been, you know, moving like they aren't the most important thing. And the truth is, no matter how much you accumulate, how much, you know, how many letters after your name, the only thing that truly gives your life meaning and offers fulfillment is relationships. Because if you acquire those things and there's no one to share it with, then it just feels like, oh, yay. As opposed to, oh my God, you know, like, our relationships are what give our lives depth and meaning, no matter whether it's work relationships or interpersonal relationships or your next door neighbor or your lover. Those are the things that really matter the most.
I feel that, and I feel that in my workaholic moments a lot. I have to pause a little bit and think about, why I'm doing what I'm doing, and who's around me to share it with. That piece is so important. I love that you said, sometimes you'll be in close proximity and you'll realize you're like, oh, I don't like you. But I love that you said the opposite,
Mm-hmm.
because I have found that to be true. Moments where I had the gift of spending extra time in close
Mm-hmm.
proximity and realized that love connection over again. And
Yes.
I love that you said that, because so many people are talking about the negative one.
Oh no, I regularly tell the people I love, the ones that I spend the most time with, like, I love you. I really like you. I really like you. Like, even my daughter's going to be 25 this month. And I am so grateful that I really like her and that she really likes me. I mean, because
Yes.
relationships of all kind are optional, including the ones you have with your children. They don't always know, when they're children, they don't know they're in an optional relationship with you. But
Yes.
but it's completely optional. So, like, we take for granted that people want to be relationshiping with us, instead of, like, approaching it from the perspective that you get to relationship with them, and you want them to want to be in relationship with you. So, like, even checking in, like, I check in with my partners, I check in with my family, like, how are we doing? Is there something you want me to not do anymore? And my daughter,
What a great
like, she gets
question.
me sometimes. She gets me sometimes, because sometimes she's like, the last time I asked her, she was like, what I really need you to do is not be giving me advice all the time. Sometimes I just want you to listen. And that's hard for me, because, as a mom, I want you to not run into that wall, because I see it coming, right?
Yeah.
But she's like, that's not what I need. So now when she's sharing, I will ask her, do you want to know what I think? And if she says no, even though that hurts my ego a lot of bit, right? When she says no, I honor that. And
I
sometimes
love
I
that.
sneak in, that's a great conversation to have with your therapist, right?
Yes, I love that. What a beautiful, conscious way to go about having a relationship with your children. My daughter is 17, and I'm hearing it. I'm listening. I think I tend to give the advice before I ask if she wants it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put that into play today.
That, she's in a really, that's a sweet spot age. When my daughter was that age, like when she was in her senior year of high school, once she got to the second semester, I stopped telling her what to do, which was hard for her. And I was like, I'm no longer your advisor. Now I'm no longer managing you. Like, now I can only give you advice if you ask for it. So even when it came time to, like,
Mm,
choosing schools and stuff, she wanted me to tell her, pick this one. And I wanted her to pick a certain one, right? But I was
yes.
like, this is your life. And I don't want you to look back and look at something and think, I only did this because my mom wanted me to, and not because I wanted to. So
Yes.
that was a challenging transition, but I wanted her to really get in the habit of, like, saying, like, this is what I want, and sitting in emotion so that she could get clear.
Yes. I love that. Oh, so much work to do with all of
Oh, it,
our,
it never stopped.
I know, with all of our people. Okay, listen, I'm going to switch gears totally 180 and go to the sexy stuff. Okay.
Okay, yeah, excellent.
So you say pleasure is a need, not an option. So, are you sure you don't want to talk about this the whole rest of the time? Because I'm game.
I'm game. I'm game.
So talk to me about that. Pleasure is a need, not an option.
We think that pleasure is extra. We think that it's a side thing that you get after you've worked really, really hard on something. Then you get the prize, and maybe it's 5 minutes, right? Because we act like it's something we have to wedge in, instead of something that we create space for.
Yeah.
But the truth is that pleasure is not something that is a human construct. When you look in nature, even the most, aggressive of animals make time for play. You see it in the ocean, orcas and dolphins, they play with each other. You see it with monkeys and primates. Like, so pleasure is not like this thing that humans get to do after they've ticked all the boxes on the to-do list. Pleasure is actually something that is innately required as our beingness, because it helps us to reset from all the things, all the have to do's. The pleasure actually gives you space to do more of the have to do's. You know, like a lion that gets to play is able to run farther when it's time to hunt. They're
Keeps you
able to be
healthy.
more stealth. Exactly. So it's
Yeah.
not something that is optional. It is an absolute necessity. And we should incorporate pleasure into our lives in the same way that we think, like, I need to drink 8 glasses of water, or I really need to get enough sleep. You know, like the things that we think are priorities to be healthy, we seem to act like pleasure is not part of that. But pleasure is, it should be one of the top things. It should be right up there with, you know, oxygen and hydration.
Yeah, I so agree with you. I had somebody ask me one time in a class, how do you have so much energy? And I took a breath for a minute and I thought about what my answer was going to be. And then I said, you know, about 4 years ago, I started prioritizing my own joy.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how I have so much freaking energy all the time. I put it up there, just like you're saying, with all of the other things that nourished me. And holy moly, watch out, right?
Such a difference. Like your energy levels do. It's like being in nature. You know, nature, being outside is pleasurable when you are present.
Yes.
You know, when you're present, you don't even have to be doing a lot. Like literally, if you're just in the moment and paying attention to like what's around you. Like I went for a morning walk yesterday and I saw the most beautiful rose. And I stopped. I was like, oh my God, this rose is so beautiful. And if I weren't conscious and in the experience, as opposed to thinking about what I need to do when I get back home from this walk, right? Like
exactly.
if I hadn't been conscious, I would have missed the rose. I like, even just saying it, I can still remember how the light hit it. And it was the only one on the bush. It was so beautiful. And I was like, I'm so grateful that I noticed this. And that gave me great pleasure.
Nature is one of
right
mine.
now.
Yeah, nature is one of mine too. I try to get that in every day in a little way. We've got a new family of hummingbirds. Oh, it's the best. It's just the best. Yeah, so it reminds me of the feeling, you know, as you're talking about the rose. That's how I just could stare for a really long time.
I feel the same way. And it replenishes you, and it reminds you, like, even if you're in like a funky headspace, like I've been gardening lately and just realized that I'm going to have to do IVF on my pumpkins, right? I just thought they just grow. And I was like, why are these flowers here and there's no pumpkins? So I'm like, I'm so excited. I'm like, I get to participate because I'm going to make as soon as I get a female flower, I'm going to make her pregnant. I'm really happy about that. But cool. Like participating in it, it's like, it reminds me of my own resilience. That even though I've got like all these male flowers on this pumpkin plant that are not going to be pumpkins, right? But the plant doesn't say, you know what? Fuck this. There's no pumpkins. I'm not doing it anymore. You know what I mean? That's not what happens.
Right.
Like nature is resilient. Like you see a forest that got burned, and in a couple of years, it might take a minute. In a couple of years, you start to see sprigs of new life happening, even in this scorched area that looks so destitute that nothing could ever come from it again. But nature is resilient and humans are resilient. And that's one of the things one of the gifts, one of the pleasurable gifts about being outside that we get.
Yeah, no doubt. Pumpkins, that is so awesome.
Pumpkins and sex.
Yeah, there we go. All right, listen, you talk about something that I'm actually really interested in hearing more about. I know that with the right person, disagreements have helped me grow as a person, and they've helped me enhance that awareness practice that you and I are talking about today. I know you get this. So talk to me about how disagreements can create a deeper intimacy.
Oh, I've got like firsthand. My love style is polyamorous, so I've got 2 lovers, and one of them, when I tell you, we couldn't be more different. We could not be more different. Like our backgrounds are very different. Our political beliefs are very different. We come from very different. I'm Black, he's white, so he's got a whole different. I'm like, we live in 2 different Americas. We are just different, and so we've had some really challenging conversations around some of those differences, because of course he views the world through the lens of his experience, and I view the world through the lens of my experience, and I also have to be aware of the different experience that the privileged have that I don't have, right?
Yeah.
So we've had some because he wasn't always aware of his privilege, and so we've had some really challenging conversations. And rather than what I learned, I mean, I always had this idea of healthy disagreements, and a lot of the time what I thought that would look like is just not arguing, which is not right. Like, but having a healthy, it's not just not arguing. It's because the absence of an argument doesn't necessarily mean you're in a healthy dynamic. Sometimes it just means someone's not talking, right?
Yep, and pissed.
Right. But to be able to have a conversation with someone who is coming from a very different place than you, and being able to listen, not to respond, but to understand. Even if after your understanding, you still disagree, which is completely okay. And being able to respect, this is how this person thinks, and reminding yourself that their opinion is not an attack on your belief system. It is merely their experience through the lens of everything that's happened in their life. And to not make it this personal thing. And also to say this person can believe what they believe because of their whole life, and they can still love me, even though their belief system appears to be averse to my entire experience.
And you can still love them. I mean, where do you have a border with maybe that isn't possible? How do you help people?
I think if there's no respect, then it's not possible.
Right.
Because respect is more important than love. We focus on love, and I love love. Look, I'm wearing a necklace that says love, got it on my bracelet. I love love. But respect is way more important than love. So to be in a relationship with someone that has a different perspective, because, like in my case, my partner's perspective is completely pragmatic. It has nothing to do with feeling, right? For him, his opinion, it's an opinion. For me, politics are a matter of life and death. But for him, it's just an opinion that he thinks works better. And so like to be able to be in that space, and I was taking it very personal, but rather than attacking him for taking it personal, I sat in why does this feel personal to me? And then being able to like talk through this with him, and all the while saying, I am not happy about what you're saying, and I also love you. Like I'm unhappy with what you're saying, and I can't love you. But instead, like viewing our relationship as a container where we both get to exist in it, right? The relationship is a third entity. So it's him and it's me, and then there's this relationship, and the container of our relationship has the grace to hold the polarity of our opinions. And in doing that, though, because I'm able to listen to him and not judge his perspective, and he's able to listen to me without feeling attacked by my opposition. And because of those things, we have such a deeply intimate relationship that also holds space for us to have these varying viewpoints.
Oh man, I gotta tell you, I'm like listening to you, and I'm thinking, in some relationships I've been in, what you're talking about sounds like a small miracle to me. And because I've moved out of one that felt like that,
right,
into one that,
me too.
The combo is respect and awareness, those two things. And if you're practicing in the moment with those two things in your conversations, that is the miracle game changer, yes. I think. Yeah.
Yes. Well, and I think the best way, because again, I believe in healthy disagreements. I don't believe in arguing. I can argue. I'm good at it. I don't like to do it. Right?
Yeah.
I'm really good at it, and it's hard to beat me, honestly. Like I'm really good at it, but I don't like to do that. The energy that brings is not what I want in my containers, right?
Right.
But when you practice regularly self-reflecting, then a lot of the things, a lot of would-be arguments don't exist. Because when you self-reflect, you realize a lot of what you want to argue about is your shit, and it's not the other person's responsibility. Like, and not making your partner responsible for managing your feelings. So like when we're in these exchanges where we're disagreeing, I am not making him responsible for making me feel better about how his opinion is making me feel. That's not his job.
That one thing.
Yes. That's not his job.
I hope y'all, let's just slow down right there for a second, because I hope y'all heard her say that last sentence. Oh my goodness, that's just triggering me.
Everything.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
And it's hard.
It is. And when you take responsibility for that in totality in your own relationship, you can create magic in your relationship.
It makes all the difference. It does. It makes all the difference. And sometimes I have to say that, like, I'm having a feeling and I need to talk about it. And I want you to know I am not asking for you to do anything. I'm discussing it with you because it involves you, but it is not your job to manage my emotions. I'm going to do that. And sometimes that looks like me pausing. Like I have had to say, like, I'm going to take a weekend. I'm in my feelings. I'm going to take the weekend to sit with this because I need to process before we can talk about it. And I want you to know my silence is not weaponized. This is not me using it against you. This is me taking care of me. This is my self-care. And my feelings for you have not changed. I love you just as much as before this happened. And I need time to sit with myself so that we can have a discussion.
Holy moly, there's another game changer right there. When is your book coming out, Stacey? And my friends say you hang around with Laura long enough, your book will get written. I think I might need to help you. Yes. Okay. You just mentioned something super important. It was such a perfect segue, because my next question for you was, I want you to help the viewers with what you think is the most important thing for them to understand about their self-care practice right now. And you just talked a little bit about that in terms of, communicating to your partner when you need your alone time. But talk more about that, because it's so important right now, especially right now.
Yes, I think that we all have to, again, like we have to withdraw from busy, because busy keeps you from even knowing what you need, right?
Yeah.
So you need to be able to be still, which may be hard for you, right? To be able to be still long enough to know what you need, because you can't even ask for someone to support you in getting your needs met if you don't know what they are. Yes. And so being able to be still with yourself, like recognizing those moments when it's like, oh my God, this rose and I felt a sense of calm wash over me. So being able to recognize like what feels good, and being able to recognize when you need to take a pause. And sometimes that looks like 15 minutes in the middle of the workday, like those breaks that the labor laws required, you need to be using them. Yeah. Like taking a pause, or, sitting down and eating your food, like eating it, not just putting it in your mouth and swallowing, right? But like being present to make mealtime about nourishing yourself, being able to get enough sleep. Like, can we please stop not prioritizing sleep? Like that is so important, because when you are sleep deprived, you don't function well and you're grouchy, which means your relationships get stressed.
Oh my gosh.
So like doing the things, like the basic things, the basic things, but then there are the things that are just specific to you. Like I know that sometimes I need to close my eyes for 5 minutes in the middle of the day. And I literally, the other day I was like frantic and feeling this energy where I felt like I needed to keep doing, but then I was indecisive and I was like, that's because you need to sit the fuck down and stop trying to do. Yes. Right. So then I did that. It was just like, okay, let me just take a minute. And then it was like, oh, actually, I want to be reading, but I don't want to be thinking. So I'm going to read for pleasure instead of for learning. But it took me those 5 minutes, right? Yeah. Those 5 minutes for me to realize that. So I think start with the things that your body needs in terms of self-care, as opposed to what because once you nourish your body, then you can hear your heart. Then you know what your heart needs. You know, my heart needs some one-on-one time with you. Like maybe your body needs touch from your partner. Like, you know what? Can we just cuddle for 10 minutes? Can we have non-sexual intimacy? Like, can we cuddle and you keep your penis down? Or if your penis gets up, can we not prioritize that? Just because sometimes it's like, I want to be with you, but you know, you keep forking me and it's hard, right? But like even being able to ask but what if you could say that to your partner? Like,
yeah, what if?
I want to be close to you, and it's not that I'm not sexually attracted to you, but what I need right now is to have some non-sexual closeness. Can we do that? And usually they're so receptive. Like, oh, okay.
I love people who can use the word penis and it's just so easy for them. Thank you for that. You guys, oh my goodness, StaceyHerrera.com. I'm linking you up in the show notes. Stacey, I have another question for you as a last question, but I want you to tell us first, what do you have going on right now? Programs? How are you helping people? Tell us everything.
I'm in the middle of crafting a program that I don't know what the program is yet. I just know how I want it to feel. And I know how I know the delivery. So I'm working on that. But right now I'm working one-on-one with people.
Awesome.
Because my genius comes out when I'm in dialogue, and that's where I
can hear it.
Is when because I can hear what you're asking and then I can respond. So yeah. I love working one-on-one. I love helping people to show up differently and to have something that is just about what they need as opposed to this global thing of what I think people need. So one-on-one is like, that's my sweet spot. That's what I love to do the most.
Yeah. And I can tell you guys, she's amazing at it. So I'm hooking you up in the show notes down below. You guys go check it out. StaceyHerrera.com. Explore her one-on-one coaching offerings, especially if right now you've got, like everyone, extra anxiety about the relationship because of what's going on. I know a lot of you are feeling that. And so, you know, sometimes it's not sometimes, most all of the time, when you get a little bit of guidance, you get this beautiful super boost because you just need to unpack some of it and have someone who's aware and intuitive helping you with it. So Stacey, thank you for being one of those people that can do that. Okay, last question I love to ask everybody. Aside from what you're doing for everyone else, what do you love to do so much you lose track of time?
Masturbate.
Oh my goodness. Come on now. Are you going to use that as an answer?
Yeah, because that's a real answer. Because masturbation is not a substitute for sex and sex is not a substitute for self-pleasure. So
that's good to know.
They go together. Self-pleasure is really a really important part of my self-care practice. I use it not just when I need to feel good. Sometimes I use it when I'm feeling anxious and it's a way for me to release something. Sometimes I masturbate in between coaching clients so that I could release the energy from the container I just left and clear it for the next space. And then other times it's just like, you know, I'm trying to get to sleep and I want to go into a deep sleep. So I'm going to come first. And other times it's just like, you know, sometimes it's not about orgasm. Sometimes it's just like, you know, it's soothing to me to pleasure myself. And I don't have to have the big explosion at the end. Sometimes it's just like, you know, I want to be one with my own body. And so, yeah, that is definitely, and I lose track of time. Like sometimes it's like, I was supposed to be asleep and I've been doing this for an hour.
Okay, you guys, since she decided to wrap up the show with that topic, this will be a formal invitation to you, Stacey, to come back for a round 2, okay? Because we're going to have to start the conversation with penis and masturbation and then just keep it going, all right? I'll be ready for you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
But honestly, seriously, thank you so much for what you're doing in the world and for being here to share it with us.
Thank you for holding this space and all the amazing things. Like, I'm so proud of you. You have been doing the damn thing.
Thank you. I appreciate you recognizing that. Thank you very much. Viewers, you're awesome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in and listening and soaking up the vibes, right? We have a big mission at Brave Healer Productions, changing the world one brave word at a time. And guests like this is part of why I do it. So thank you for being here. And I got a little message for you guys down in the show notes. You're going to see some information, but if you happen to be a holistic practitioner with a message to share, please head down there, because you're going to see how to be on the show. You might be an awesome guest like Stacy, and you're also going to see some information about our next Ultimate Guide to Self-Healing book collaboration project. Super excited about how this is going down right now. You guys are getting your words out in the world in a much bigger way. Until then, I want you to remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it's time to be brave, you guys. See you next time, Stacy.
Bye.
Bye.